Today we are very excited to have esteemed alum here in our presence, Miss Gail Simmons. Well, let's talk about Top Chef. I am curious about how you landed the role. It premiered in 2006. How did that all start?
When I graduated ICE, I worked as a cook for a long time in restaurants because I also knew that if I really wanted to write about it, I still needed to get my skills up, and then went back into the publishing world. I worked at Vogue magazine. After that, I actually went to work for Chef 𝘨𝘨𝘀 for many years in marketing and public relations. And through him, I came to know the people at Food and Wine magazine. But because I had culinary skills and I had done publicity in my sort of former job, I wasn't new to the cameras and to doing PR and press. And about a year into the job, my editor-in-chief and publisher at the magazine were approached by Bravo about this sort of like wild and crazy idea they had for a show called Top Chef, and would Food and Wine partner with them. And I literally thought that I would do it for 3 weeks and come back to my job and like resume my life and no big deal. And that was 20 years ago. And I'm still making the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was not the plan. You know what I mean?
plan.
It was not the plan. I could not have planned this if I tried. It was not on my bingo card. But I will say that I had the at least understanding that when you're walking straight ahead and the goal is the door at the end of the hallway, don't forget to look to your left and right and say yes to those opportunities.
Yes. You know, we've all heard the phrase food is love, and that is true, but it's also like, what is love? Love is gathering and connection and community, and I love that tip-to-toe kind of holistic view of the food ecosystem.
Yes, I mean, I think about so often, Jose Andres, who's, you know, obviously a warrior hero to so many of us in a lot of ways, says this all the time, and I think about it all the time, that we don't need to build higher walls, we need to build longer tables. And that's where the business gets done, right? That's where the connections are made. That's where we're gonna see change in the world, is by bringing people together, not separating them. And I think Top Chef, in its own way, has done that because we do talk about real issues. We show the real life of chefs and cooks and how their world is affected. But it allows a kind of a bigger cultural conversation.
Yeah. Talk to me about your experience with mentors and your own proteges, and just sort of like, what's your view on the importance of that in the food business?
Sure. I mean, I think it's vital. I think it's vital in any business. Cooking, especially, because there is not one path to doing it, right? Do you need to go to culinary school? That's the argument, right? Some people say yes, some people say no. I think it gives a foundation that can't be matched. At every stage, I think finding mentors, having mentors is vital, because I think they allow you perspective and resource, and obviously learning from their experience to inform your own. I'm sure you still have your career services department here. They are an amazing resource, and I will also say that I have hired 7 alumni over the years from ICE. When I need someone from my business and my job, like the first people I email are the ICE team, because they know what the job is, what I require, and I know that all the candidates that they send me are gonna be with at least this base of education.
You are now the co-executive producer of a non-reality show that's gonna be airing soon on NBC called Taste.
The show takes place at a food magazine. I went into this project as the culinary person on the team, right? I'm doing all the food advising, I'm creating the universe to make sure it's authentic, but I'm working with a team that does this full time. And then we sold it to NBC. We were so excited to work with them, and now we're in the thick of it. Somebody
who wants to kind of replicate your path, and I know it's unique to each person, but what would you say?
Well, I think the first thing you said is most important. You're never gonna replicate someone's path. Stop trying to be like someone else. Nor do we want you to be, because that person exists and they've done that thing. You can have people you admire, people who blazed a trail, who set examples, and who did things that you would love to do, but there's no way to do it exactly the same. And in fact, there's way more opportunity to do it your own way. The most important thing, I think, is having a point of view, right?
Okay, well, bravo. There it is.
Thank you so much.